when I had an argument with my childhood sweetheart in a fit of anger. He slapped me in the face in front of everyone. On that day, I deleted all his contact information. Everyone was incredulous. I grew up with Baron, and I had been in love with him since I was a child, chasing after him for a full 9 years. Why, Elsa? Just because of that slap? He asked in a daze. Yes, just because of that slap, I said with utmost seriousness. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. When Baron slapped me in the face, I didn't even realize what had happened at first. There was a dull slap sound and I stumbled. My head was ringing from the blow. My left cheek first felt hot and then it burned like fire. I covered my face and looked at him blankly. My childhood sweetheart Baron gave me a slap in public when I had an argument with a transfer student. Baron realized what he had done, and his expression froze for a moment, but it was quickly replaced by anger and impatience. Can you stop causing trouble here? Elsa, go back to your seat. Some people in the class let out low sneers, and more people remained silent, watching this good show. Clara stood beside Baron, playing with her beautiful chestnut curly hair, and clicked her tongue. Oh, Baron, what are you doing? Don't you see that your little princess is about to cry? Upon hearing this, Baron's voice became even colder. Elsa, if you want to cry, go home and cry. This is a school, not a place for you to act like a princess anytime and anywhere. Amidst the intertwining of shame, grievance, and resentment, big teardrops welled up in my eyes and spilled out. Amidst the jeers of the boys, I rushed out of the classroom. I didn't know where to go, but I didn't want to attend class anymore. And I especially didn't want to stay and face those people in the classroom. In fact, Baron had never been patient with me, but this was really the first time he slapped me. Not only that, this was the first time in my life that someone had slapped me. Baron and I were childhood sweethearts, the kind who had known each other since we were 3 years old. His parents and my parents had been good friends for more than 10 years and lived in opposite apartments on the same floor. I had liked Baron since I was a child. When I was in primary school, I was always bullied by other boys. There was one boy who was the worst. He sat in the back seat and pulled my hair, put chewing gum on my chair, and even put small firecrackers in my desk. I went to the teacher crying, and the teacher educated him, but then turned around and said with a smile that he did those things because he liked me. I didn't believe it. That boy didn't change either. I went home and told my parents about it. My parents were furious when they heard this and were about to go and find that teacher immediately. Baron's father was visiting our house at that time. After learning about this, he called Baron and asked him to protect me at school in the future. Baron and I were the same age, but we were not in the same class at that time. During the break, the next day, Baron came to my class and dragged that boy out and gave him a beating. He had been tall since he was a child, and his personality was tough. He beat that boy and his friends until they cried. Before leaving, he also warned the other boys, anyone who dares to bully Elsa again, just you wait. That's when I fell in love with him. Since then, I became his little follower, sticking to his side. I would follow him wherever he went. Baron didn't like me following him. He was quite a male chauvinist and thought it wasn't manly to play with a weak girl like me all day long. But I was persistent and kept chasing after him, calling him Brother Baron all the time. After a few years like this, he gradually softened his heart and didn't reject me as much. I increasingly noticed that his gaze lingered on me for a longer time when our eyes met. Sometimes he would be in a daze and sometimes he would seem to be electrocuted, stuttering and blushing as he changed the topic. Baron's father said that since the two children had such a good relationship, they might as well arrange a baby marriage. Baron didn't say anything, but he held my hand tightly. I saw that his ears were red. I felt sweet in my heart and said loudly, "Okay, I want to marry Brother Baron." However, after entering high school, everything began to change. At the end of the first semester of senior high school, a transfer student came to our class. The transfer student's name was Clara. It was said that she transferred because of her parents' job transfer. She had excellent grades and a bright and beautiful face. On the first day, She came here with her chestnut curly hair. She smiled and said to the head teacher, my hair is like this naturally. The color is light and it's naturally curly. Then she turned her head and swept a glance around our class. When she saw me, she stopped, stared at me for a while, and suddenly burst out laughing. Damn, help. Where did this Barbie princess come from? Haha, she's all in pink. God, you're already a high school student. Are you trying to act cute? It's so embarrassing. The eyes of the whole class followed her and turned towards me. My face immediately turned completely red. I liked pink, especially almost everything I bought was pink. A pink school bag, a pink teacup, a pink hairpin, a pink short-sleeved shirt, a pink sweater, a pink phone case, and even the little pendant had to be pink. Because of these, I had actually been talked about a lot. In primary school, some boys said I was a girl who acts overly sweet and coquettish and delicate, and some girls said I was pretending to be cute, but most people were nice. More girls would tell me that I was super cute, and that pink suited me very well. It was the first time I was laughed at so directly and unreservedly in public. I was both dazed and ashamed, and for a moment, I wished I could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. Haha, sorry, I'm a bit straightforward when I speak. Don't be angry, little princess. Seeing this, Clara winked playfully. All right, it's your first day here. Say less. At this time, Baron's impatient voice sounded. I turned around and saw Baron frowning and looking at Clara with displeasure. Clara raised her eyebrows and stared at Baron. Oh, the princess's knight in shining armor is here. What are you talking about? Are you crazy? Baron got angry and slapped the table as he stood up. The teacher quickly reprimanded him and asked him to sit down. Then the teacher arranged Clara in the empty seat. I don't know if it was a coincidence, but the only empty seat in the class, Elsa's seat, was in front of Baron, so they became desk mates with one in front and one behind. I don't know when Baron and she got closer. One day, quite suddenly, the strawberry milk that Baron's father asked him to bring me every morning was replaced with pure milk. I hate pure milk the most. Don't you know that? Staring at the box of pure milk in my hand, I was a bit unhappy. Come on, isn't it just because the box of strawberry milk is pink? It's not appropriate for you to drink strawberry milk every day at your age. Drink pure milk from now on. It's healthy. Baron patted my head. Clara was also holding a box of pure milk in her hand. Upon hearing this, she turned her head and smiled as if she was a bit embarrassed. Sorry, little pink, I like pure milk, so I asked Baron to bring this. However, strawberry milk is too sweet. It's really sickly sweet. Do all you little girls like to drink this? I put down the milk, furrowed my brows, and looked directly at her. Do you like giving nicknames to others? She froze for a moment, and then her face showed surprise and helplessness. Haha, why are you taking it so seriously? I was just joking. You're too sensitive. God, am I being sensitive or are you feeling guilty? You know it in your heart. All right, Elsa. Baron stopped us looking a bit headache. Sometimes Clara really doesn't think before she speaks. Don't take it to heart. I was so angry that my eyes were red. I pushed Baron hard and didn't forget to scold Clara. If you can't speak properly, then shut up. Baron was startled and quickly wrapped his arms around my waist, saying without thinking, all right, I was wrong. Don't be angry. I'll bring you strawberry milk tomorrow. Okay. Seeing this, Clara's face changed and she stared at me fiercely. From the next day on, Clara started to target me. When I took out the pink packaged facial tissue, she exclaimed, wow, you even use pink ones. Do you want to package yourself as a Barbie doll during the general cleaning? When I wiped the handle of the broom with a wet facial tissue, she winked at the boys. Here comes the princess syndrome. During the seat change that happened once every 2 weeks when I was tired from moving the desk and wanted to take a rest, Clara shouted in the class, the princess can't move it. Hurry up and get some knights to help the princess move things. Every time this happened, several boys who were on good terms with her would egg her on as if they found it very interesting, and they all laughed happily, one louder than the other. At first, Baron thought it was inappropriate and would stop her a few words, but Clara said carelessly, It's just a joke. Elsa seems too uptight. Usually, I'm helping her get along well with her classmates. Upon hearing this, Baron nodded thoughtfully. Elsa does have a bit of the princess syndrome. Are all girls like this nowadays? Clara punched his shoulder. Hey, I'm not like that. Okay, don't lump me in with them. Baron smiled. My heart felt sour. In fact, I always knew that Baron thought I was delicate and had a little temper. Perhaps for most boys, liking pink, having a cleanliness habit, and being weak in strength meant having the princess syndrome. Finally, one time I couldn't stand it anymore. During that summer vacation, I went to the beach with my parents to play, and my skin got quite tanned. In fact, there had been a few times like this before. Generally, as long as I stayed indoors for half a month, when I got home, my skin would turn white again. So, I didn't pay much attention to it. After the summer vacation ended and school started not long ago, I wore a pink shirt under my school uniform. When Clara saw it, she exaggeratedly raised her voice. God, Elsa, you're so dark-kidneyed and you're still wearing this kind of pink. Don't you think it's ridiculous? No. Haha, it's killing me. How can you be a princess like this? What kind of princess is so dark? I think you're more like a little black dog. Haha. She and several boys laughed together. Baron also seemed to find it funny and raised the corners of his mouth. At that moment, a huge sense of helplessness and shame overwhelmed me. I just felt the blood rush to my head, and I clenched my fists amidst their laughter. I picked up my water cup and splashed it on her face. Clara was stunned and frantically wiped her wet face. It turned out that she had makeup on, and it was a bit smudged by the water. Cough, cough. What are you doing? Are you crazy? My God, I imitated her. You wear double eyelid stickers, foundation, and lipstick even when you're at school. No wonder you're not a princess. You're here to sell your smiles. Right. As several boys frowned and blocked me, Baron was in the lead and took the water cup from my hand. Elsa, apologize. He looked down at me condescendingly, frowning and saying coldly. My eyes were red and I stared at him firmly. Didn't you hear what she said about me? She said I was like a dog. One thing is one thing. You've already scolded her back. Now you have to apologize for splashing water on her. You have to admit when you do something wrong. Be good. Don't be petty. He said it as if it were only natural. Just apologize. Clara won't hold it against you. I sneered. Apologize your ass. Baron's eyes widened and he slapped me hard. I didn't attend the rest of the classes that day and went straight home. I rushed into my room and frantically rummaged through the whole house, making a mess of the bookshelf, the wardrobe, and the storage cabinet. I took a big cardboard box and found all the things that Baron had given me since I was a child and threw them all in. It filled the whole box. I made sure there was nothing left out. I picked up the cardboard box, rushed downstairs, and threw everything into the trash can. After doing all this, my parents hadn't come back yet. I called my mother. Hello, baby, what's wrong? Mom, when you come back today, go and tell Uncle Baron and Aunt Sue that I'm breaking up with Baron. And I said coldly, from today on, Baron is not allowed to step into our house. Tell him to get as far away as possible. When my mother came home, she looked at the slap mark on my face, worried and angry. I told her about what had happened during this period. My mother's veins popped out of anger as she listened. She turned around and knocked on Baron's door. Aunt Sue was still confused without saying a word. My mother told her everything. How Baron had slapped me hard, how he had watched the transfer student bully me with words and laugh at me without doing anything, and finally, how he had stood in front of the other person to help her. Aunt Sue's face turned green and white in turns. In fact, our two families had had a very good relationship for so many years, but today there was a rift because of me. However, my mother didn't blame me. Instead, she said gently, our Elsa can't be bullied by anyone, no matter what choice you make. Your father and I will support you. The suppressed grievance and sadness burst out. My nose turned sour, and I hugged my mother and cried. When Baron came home in the evening, he should have seen the things I threw in the trash can and knocked on the door angrily. Elsa, come out. Let's talk. I opened the door. Baron's face, as cold as frost, greeted me. Why did you throw away all the things I gave you? It's none of your business. I looked at him indifferently. The mark of the slap in the morning was still on my face. Baron hadn't held back his strength, and my side face was swollen and bruised with clear finger marks. Instead of fading with time, it became more and more serious. Baron's expression changed, and he stared blankly at the mark on my face. After a while, he said in a daze, "How could it be so serious?" After saying that, he reached out his hand to touch me again. I took a step back and had no expression on my face. I rarely got hurt before. Whenever I bumped or scratched somewhere, I would complain to Baron with tears in my eyes and ask him to comfort me. In fact, I wasn't afraid of pain. I had thick nerves. Sometimes I wouldn't even notice a cut on my body for several days. I just wanted to act coquettish in front of the person I liked. On the contrary, Baron, although he said I was weak and delicate, actually enjoyed the feeling of being relied on by me. But now I wasn't going to play along anymore. Baron had never seen me so indifferent, and for a moment, he was a bit incredulous. I didn't mean it. Elsa, it's just that you curse like that. And I got angry for a moment. I interrupted him. Since you're here, let's be clear. From today on, we'll act as if we don't know each other. Don't talk to me if we meet at school in the future. And don't come knocking on my door like you did tonight ever again. After saying that, I was about to close the door. Baron grabbed my hand, his eyes fixed on me, and his expression changed from guilt to anger and confusion. Is it really necessary? Elsa, if you're angry because I hit you, I'll apologize. Don't you think you're being extreme? Haven't you thought about what you'll do if you regret it later? I won't regret it. Why? Just because I accidentally slapped you? Yes, just because of that slap, I said with great solemnity. Fine, since you insist on this, then as you wish. Baron laughed out of extreme anger, slammed the door, and left. The next day, Baron and Clara announced in a high-profile manner in the class that they were officially dating. I wasn't surprised. Looking back now, there were actually signs of it all along. When Clara first transferred in because of her cheerful and straightforward personality, she quickly got along well with the boys in the class, but she didn't play much with the girls. In her words, "Oh, I just like playing with boys. It's easier to play with boys than with girls. You don't get talked about behind your back. Girls have too many thoughts and are always scheming against each other. I can't stand that. And those little girls are all delicate. If you say something wrong, they'll hold a grudge. I can't get along with them. It's more comfortable to be with boys." Because of these remarks, the girls in the class didn't like her. Seeing this, Clara pouted at the boys and said helplessly, I understand. I shouldn't have said that. They have too many thoughts. Now I've offended them deeply. Sigh, I'm definitely going to be ostracized by the girls' clique again. Forget it. I'm used to it like this." She put us in an awkward position. It was clearly her who didn't want to play with us and said we were delicate and had too many thoughts. But when no girls paid attention to her, she would accuse us of isolating her and forming a clique to ostracize her. After going home, I couldn't help complaining to my parents. Baby, Mom understands how you feel. Mom has also met such people before. When you meet such people, just ignore them and don't be influenced by them, and definitely don't get too close to them. Baron happened to come to my house. Upon hearing this, his handsome face turned slightly cold. He was the kind of person who rarely discussed others privately and disapproved of our behavior. Uncle, Aunt Elsa, it's not nice to talk about others behind their backs like this. My parents and I were very embarrassed and fell silent. I later found out that somehow he had already established a deep friendship with Clara. Clara had good English grades and sat in front of Baron. She often volunteered to tutor Baron, who was very poor at English. I used to do this half a month after Clara transferred in. She naturally took over this task. Clara could also play basketball and got along well with the boys, many of whom were Baron's close friends, so they naturally got much closer. Baron's impression of her also changed from the classmate who inexplicably laughed at others on the first day of transferring to a warm-hearted, cheerful, and straightforward girl who sometimes speaks a bit too directly. Baron, who disliked being with girls all day long, quickly accepted Clara's presence. During class, he passed small notes with Clara and laughed out loud as if no one else was around. After school, he carried Clara, who was smiling brightly, on the back seat of his bicycle and chatted and laughed with a group of his friends. I used to feel sad and lost because of this, but I always comforted myself that they were just ordinary friends. I thought that Baron liked me. It turned out that I was being overly sentimental and overestimating myself. Baron and I are in a serious relationship. Unlike some people who stick to others behind their backs in the name of being childhood sweethearts and offer themselves for free, Clara said with a smile, sitting on Baron's lap. Then she said, meaningfully, "By the way, although I know that you girls like to tattle behind people's backs, I still hope that some classmates won't report our relationship to the teacher. That would be really unseemly." Baron didn't express his opinion. Some people in the class congratulated them, and some secretly watched my reaction. Everyone almost knew that Baron and I were childhood sweethearts, and that I liked him. I was only close to Baron among the boys in the whole class, and originally, there was only me around him. My desk mate looked at me worriedly. I didn't even raise my head and focused on reading. The atmosphere was a bit awkward for a moment. Baron snorted coldly and turned his gaze away from me. After that, their relationship became even more intimate. During the break, Clara took off her hair tie and put it on Baron's hand, cutely ordering him not to take it off. During class, they secretly passed notes under the desk, and Baron sometimes laughed out loud as if there was no one else in the classroom. They went to have lunch together. Clara would grab the chicken pieces from Baron's plate, and Baron would indulge her with a helpless expression. After school, Clara sat on the back seat of his bicycle, holding his waist tightly, looking just like an affectionate couple. After all, it was 10 years of my life. At first, I inevitably felt a bit uncomfortable, but I quickly got used to it just when I thought we wouldn't have any more interactions. Baron stopped me at the school gate after school. Elsa, his tone was heavy, and his expression was complex, looking like a mix of anger and joy, which I couldn't understand. Clara asked for sick leave today. He looked at me and said, I didn't react at first. What did this have to do with me? So what? Seeing this, Baron said directly, "What did you say to her?" I was stunned for a moment and said briefly, "What could I say to her? I've never taken the initiative to talk to her. I'm not the type who likes chatting. Moreover, for someone like Clara, I feel disgusted even looking at her if she doesn't cause me trouble. I won't talk to her for a whole year. So, what could I say to her?" There was full of distrust in Baron's eyes as he questioned me. She was fine when I sent her home last night, but today, she asked for sick leave. I called to ask her what was wrong, and she just cried, saying that she was sorry for you and asking you to stop being angry. Tell me the truth. What exactly did you say to her? Did you hit her? Are you crazy? I didn't want to entangle with him anymore and pushed him away, trying to leave. A strong force came from behind. Baron grabbed my wrist and stared at me like a wild beast catching its prey. Elsa, I know you're not happy about our relationship, but you don't have to do this. Don't you remember that you were the one who said we should act as if we don't know each other, no matter how jealous you are now? He seemed to want to say something, but paused. After a while, he said in a low voice, "As long as you apologize to me, we can pretend that what happened before never happened, and we can go back to the way we were." Baron's tone was a bit urgent, as if he couldn't wait for my response. I couldn't stand it anymore and interrupted him. "Are you crazy? Let go. Who's going to apologize to you?" I said, "I didn't do anything. You two can date however you want. I'm really happy about it. You can have 10 kids together for all I care. Just stay together forever. Let go." Baron's face turned livid, and he looked at me in disbelief. But his hand didn't move at all. Just as I was about to struggle, a hand pressed on Baron's arm. "Classmate, it's not nice to treat a girl like this, is it?" I looked in the direction of the voice and saw a young man in a school uniform about our age. "Charlie," I said, subconsciously. Charlie was a senior in our school, and he and I used to be team members representing the school in the provincial mathematics competition. However, We didn't have much communication at that time and couldn't be considered familiar. I could remember him because his face was really unforgettable. Why was he here? Seeing my confused look, Charlie turned his gaze to me and winked at me playfully. Then he exerted some force with his hand, and Baron's face gradually turned unpleasant. Taking the opportunity, I broke free and ran away without looking back. On Wednesday's physical education class, I felt a bit unwell, but I didn't pay much attention. Under the teacher's command, I ran laps with my classmates. Boys and girls ran separately. The girls ran first, and the boys waited on the side. As I was running, suddenly, my eyes went dark and my limbs felt weak and numb. Only then did I realize that I had low blood sugar. But it was too late. I stumbled and fell to my knees on the track in an awkward manner. There was a cry of surprise around. Soon a pair of footsteps approached me quickly, and a strong hand wrapped around my arm and pulled me up. It was Baron. Did your low blood sugar act up? Did you not eat properly again? You're in this state and still running. Can you take some responsibility for your own body? Does it hurt from the fall? I'll take you to the infirmary, he chattered in my ear. I was already annoyed from falling, and the gazes of the other classmates made me even more unhappy. I struggled hard trying to pull my arm out. Don't touch me. I can walk by myself. He growled. Is this the time to be in a bad mood with me? Can you care about your own body? I'll just take you to the infirmary and leave right after. You should be relieved now. Right. I laughed out of anger. Don't you understand? Is low blood sugar a very serious disease? Just find a place to sit for a while, and it'll be fine. Am I dying? Do I have to be taken to the infirmary by you? Baron gritted his teeth. After a while, he squeezed out a few words through his teeth. Do you really have to be so ungrateful? I looked at him calmly. If you really think so, there's nothing I can do about it. Baron threw my hand away and strode away without looking back. There weren't many people in the infirmary. Only a student was sitting on a bed, and it was Charlie. When he saw me, his eyes lit up and he smiled. Hi, Elsa. Hello. What a coincidence. Are you also in the infirmary? I nodded indifferently. I just realized that Charlie was injured, much more seriously than my minor issue. There was a thick layer of gauze wrapped around his knee, and blood was seeping through from the inside. The white gauze had turned red. Noticing my gaze, he looked down and scratched his head in embarrassment. Oh, this sigh. There was a piece of the ground lifted up on the playground. I didn't notice it and fell while playing basketball. It's not a big deal, just a flesh wound. What about you? Are you okay? I seem to have heard that Charlie was the captain of the school basketball team and was quite famous in the school. The bloody gauze made my teeth ache, and I couldn't help but become a bit more gentle in my attitude towards Charlie. I'm fine, just low blood sugar. You should rest well. Charlie nodded vigorously, and his smile was very bright. It was hard to tell that he was seriously injured. In the next few days, because of my low blood sugar and my period and Charlie's knee injury, we would meet in the infirmary during the morning break and the morning run every day. As time passed, we became much more familiar with each other. Charlie was a bit easy to get along with and be friendly with, but he had a cheerful and gentle personality and was very good at taking care of other people's emotions. It was very relaxing to get along with him. One day, Charlie sat on the sick bed and looked at me a bit embarrassedly. Elsa, I think our friendship can be further developed. What do you think? I was startled and quickly waved my hand to refuse, but he didn't give up. After a week, when we didn't have to go to the infirmary anymore, he came to find me during the big break every day, sometimes bringing candies, sometimes bringing the milk I liked. As soon as he came, he would stick to the seat near me and not leave, chattering nonstop. What's more, several girls around me were always very enthusiastic about offering him a seat. Gradually, the rumor that Charlie, a senior in grade 3, was dating a junior in grade 2 spread widely, and everyone thought we were in a relationship. I denied it, but other people looked at me with a "I understand" expression and said that if I didn't want to admit it, then I didn't have to. Anyway, everyone knew. The girl sitting behind me asked me, gossipingly, "Let me ask you, does Charlie really have 8-pack abs?" I was confused. How would I know that? But I still answered honestly, "I don't know. Come on." Don't hide anything from your sisters at a time like this. We're just asking. He never lifts his shirt to wipe his sweat during the game. No girl has ever seen his body. He has full marks in male virtue. You know, my desk mate also poked me. I heard from the senior, who's on the same team as him, that he has 8-pack abs. You're his only girlfriend. You must have seen them, right? Share with us. How are they? Are they good looking? What do they feel like when you touch them? I thought about it. Never lifts his shirt. It didn't seem to be the case. Why do I remember that he always complained about being hot in the infirmary, saying that there was no air conditioner, and would often pull at the corner of his shirt to wipe his sweat? After carefully recalling, I seemed to have really seen them. I fell into thought and said subconsciously, it seems that he does, but he's quite thin. I haven't touched them, though. Oh, damn, you're so lucky. Before I could finish, the girl behind me exclaimed in excitement, shut up. I've just seen them a few times. What do you mean by lucky? It has nothing to do with me. I quickly covered her mouth. At this moment, a sharp clang sound suddenly came from the classroom. We looked in the direction of the sound and saw that Baron had broken a cup. His face was pale, and it seemed that he didn't react until after a while. He slowly bent down to pick up the pieces on the ground. As he was picking them up, Clara exclaimed, Baron, your hand. I just realized that Baron's finger was cut. Bright red blood flowed down his finger. He stared blankly at his hand, not knowing what he was thinking. Baron, I have some paper. Come here, and I'll wrap it for you. Clara tried to pull his hand, but Baron shook her off in full view of everyone. He actually walked towards me. The wound was very deep, but he seemed to have no sense of pain. Blood dripped on the ground all the way as he walked up to me. He looked at me and said in a low voice, I'm injured. Elsa, can you give me a Band-Aid? I looked at him quietly. I always carry Band-Aids with me, and Baron knows that. For him, when Baron was a child, he often got into fights because of me. The boys in primary school would pull my braids, lift my skirt, and put things in my school bag and desk to scare me. When I was in junior high school, a boy in my class pursued me, but I refused him. He became angry out of shame and together with his friends, spread rumors that I had a chaotic love life, accepting gifts from boys while leading them on. Baron fought with them one by one until no one dared to spread rumors about me in private. Once the boy who spread the rumors called a few of his friends to follow Baron after school and pushed him out of the school corridor. At that time, the school corridor had floor, toe-ceiling windows. Baron was caught off guard and smashed through the window, rolling to the ground, covered in glass shards. Fortunately, it was on the first floor, so he didn't get seriously injured. However, his 2 arms were badly cut by the small glass shards. When I found him, his school uniform was already stained red with blood. His face was contorted with pain, but he still gritted his teeth and comforted me, saying it was okay and that it didn't hurt. I was crying so hard that my vision was blurred, but I could only watch helplessly as his wounds kept bleeding. From that day on, I always carried Band-Aids with me. Although after that, no matter who bullied me, I solved it on my own and never told Baron again for fear that he would get hurt because of me. But this habit has been kept until now. Baron once mocked me for making a big deal out of it, but looking at the smile in his eyes, I knew that he actually liked it. However, during the time when Clara transferred in, she saw the Band-Aid that fell out of my school bag and told Baron that a person of my age still used Hello Kitty Band-Aids, which was so childish, and that I was still pretending to be cute even when I was injured. Baron listened and nodded with a smile. I pulled myself out of the memories and gently shook my head at Baron. I won't give you a Band-Aid, I said. Never again in the future. Baron didn't seem surprised, and the color drained from his face. He laughed self-deprecatingly. I see. His eyes dimmed immediately like falling stars. After school, Clara blocked me at the back door of the classroom. Let's have a talk. She didn't smile this time, and her expression was very serious. I was really getting annoyed. Why were they all coming to me one after another? Was I a part of their game? They could date each other and I could go to school. We clearly had no interaction at all. Why was one stopping me today and the other wanting to talk to me tomorrow? Clara looked at me with a solemn expression. After a while, she said, I really don't understand. What is it about you that makes him miss you so much? I almost sneered. Don't beat around the bush. Just say what you want to say. Her face darkened for a moment, and she stared at me resentfully. You must be very proud. Right. Although Baron is with me now, he still likes you in his heart. When he saw you dating another boy, he was almost depressed. He hasn't paid any attention to me these days. I really don't understand what's so good about your melodramatic princess syndrome. He just accidentally slapped you when he was emotional, and you immediately broke off with him. You just think he made you lose face, right? Just because your vain self-esteem was hurt. You could abandon your childhood sweetheart who grew up with you. You're a typical selfish and narrow-minded person. Clara said a lot in one breath, as if she was really indignant. I listened quietly and then said, You don't have to test me. I won't make up with him. She froze for a moment. I smiled. It must be embarrassing to be said by your boyfriend to test the feelings of his childhood sweetheart. Right, but don't worry. When I said we should act as if we don't know each other, we'll be strangers for the rest of our lives. Elsa, mean what I say and never pick up the trash I've thrown away. Go back and tell Baron that I still say the same thing. Get lost. The farther the better. Clara's face became extremely complex for a moment, showing a mixture of guilt and humiliation for being exposed, as well as confusion. After I left, her voice came from behind me with a hint of unwillingness. Elsa, is it really just because of that slap? Just because he hit you once? Yes, just because of that slap. I answered again, still with the same answer. In the evening, I received a strange call. Without thinking much, I answered it. Elsa, it was Baron. He must have used a new phone card. Are you done? After saying that, I wanted to hang up. Wait, listen to me, Baron said. I remained silent. I read that diary. After a while, a hoarse voice came from the other end of the phone. My mind went blank for a moment, and then I quickly realized that Baron was probably talking about the diary I wrote. I only had one diary, which was given to me by Baron when I was 10 years old. I treasured it like a gem and developed the habit of keeping a diary ever since. I've been writing in it for many years. That diary carried my love for many years. I recorded every detail of my time with Baron, every moment when I liked him. I even fantasized that when we got married in the future, I would give this diary to him. It would be my long confession. Didn't I throw it away? I was speechless. I picked it up that day. Baron's voice trembled. I'm sorry, Elsa. I read your diary. I didn't expect you to like me so much. I'm sorry for ignoring your feelings all this time. Actually, I regretted hitting you that day. Over the years, I didn't just see you as a sister. Baron, I interrupted him. Which day did you pick the things back up? The voice on the other end stopped abruptly. It's been many days. Right. I smiled. Then why are you only calling me to say these things tonight? Did you just open and read it today? His voice was feeble. Because I've been in a relationship recently and you feel threatened. You think your position is really in danger. So, after several months, you suddenly had the urge to condescendingly open that dusty diary today. Right, Elsa, it's not like that. I didn't listen to his explanation and said softly, Baron, you should know that an apology and confession that come too late can not only not redeem the past, but also make the remaining memories seem very inappropriate. That diary has no meaning now. You'd better throw it away. Don't call me again and don't look for me either. It's really annoying. I hung up the phone. There was still a week until my birthday. My parents held a birthday party and asked me to invite my classmates in the class to attend. At first, I didn't want to invite Baron and the others, but considering that they had been behaving themselves recently and there was no need to cause extra trouble, I sent out the invitations equally. Charlie also had the nerve to ask me for one. On the day of the birthday party, I attended in a splendid dress. Baron also came wearing a suit and with Clara on his arm, who had delicate makeup. When she saw me, she clung tightly to Baron's arm, pressing herself almost seamlessly against him. Baron had no expression on his face. I didn't greet them and walked straight towards the elders. The birthday party was very enjoyable, but I was also a bit tired. In the middle, I went to the terrace alone to blow the night wind and take a rest. At this time, I heard a series of footsteps behind me. Although I didn't want to admit it, after knowing him for so many years, I could recognize his footsteps immediately. The person stood behind me. His voice, "Can we talk? Elsa?" I turned around and saw that Baron's eyes were very red. "Sure," I said expressionlessly, "but if possible, I hope this is the last time." His face was pale and he laughed self-deprecatingly. "Do we really have to be like this? Elsa, is it true that no matter how much I beg you now, you won't forgive me?" I averted my gaze. "I really don't understand. You've always liked me, right? You know that. I like you, too. We were just one confession away. Why are you treating me like this?" He finally said it, and it was the first time he admitted that he liked me, too. But it was in such a situation. Is it really just because of that slap? Just like when he first asked this question, I still nodded without hesitation. Yes, just because of that slap. I heard it that day. Baron didn't just lose his temper and slap me out of pure emotion. I heard it that day. One day before that incident, I watched Baron take Clara home again, feeling uneasy. I followed them. Baron, along with a few of his friends, took Clara into a hot pot restaurant and were chatting while eating. She's been following since primary school. Damn, isn't that the so-called childhood sweetheart? Does she still like you now? Definitely. In the class, she only talks to Baron among the boys. She's been chasing you for 9 years. Baron, you still haven't agreed. Don't you like her? My heart tensed up. Baron laughed and said casually, "I do like her, but I don't really want to be in a relationship. She seems too delicate and troublesome." There was an uproar. Awesome. Damn, aren't you afraid that she won't like you anymore if you keep leading her on like this? How could that be for a girl like her? Once she likes someone, she'll stick to them and won't let go easily. At this time, Clara's voice sounded with a smile. "Yeah, I know that kind of girl very well. She likes pink and buys everything in pink. She's delicate and has a weak personality, and she likes to rely on others, no matter how Baron treats her. As long as he shows her a little kindness, she'll keep liking Baron. Look, even though I'm so close to Baron now, she still comes up to us eagerly. I guess, even if you slap her in public and apologize later, it'll be okay. Really, is she that mindless? Baron, why don't you give it a try? Slap her. A girl like her will probably cry her eyes out on the spot." I held my breath. In the noisy hot pot restaurant, Baron's voice was particularly clear. "Let's give it a try." Then, Baron was extremely flustered and his hands were trembling slightly. "It's not like that. Elsa, listen to me. I just said that because I wanted to save face. I didn't really think that way. I don't deny it. It's embarrassing. Baron." I looked at him and said softly, "Didn't you always say that it's a very bad behavior to discuss others behind their backs? Look at yourself. How much better are you?" All the color drained from Baron's face in an instant. I let out a long sigh. It was strange. I was angry and sad at that time. But now I felt nothing, as if I was looking at someone else's business. "I know you like me, but I also know that you've wavered. Right, for a moment. You thought Clara was also very good, and you liked her so much that you wanted to show off in front of her. This is very normal. Baron, you like me because we grew up together. I'm beautiful and love you wholeheartedly. So, you have feelings for me, but in the end, we're not suitable. You think I'm beautiful, but it doesn't stop you from thinking that I have the delicate princess syndrome. That my liking for pink is a characteristic of a little girl's personality, and that I'm not as decent and upright as you big boys. So, you'll eventually be attracted to someone like Clara. Even if there wasn't Clara, there would be someone else. Another straightforward girl, who is different from other girls, but equally beautiful. However, you shouldn't have stepped on me to show yourself off." I sneered. "How dare you hit me? Don't you know that no one has ever hit me before? Who do you think you are? Tell me. Baron, why did you dare to hit me?" Baron's expression was desolate and absent-minded. I had hit the mark on his darkest, most hidden, and most selfish desires deep in his heart, and he knew it. He was powerless to refute. I stared at him steadily. Finally, he stood there in a daze, and a tear rolled down his cheek. "Elsa, don't you love me anymore?" "I've never loved you," I said without hesitation. "What? Baron's lips turned pale, and he looked at me blankly. I looked directly into his eyes and said frankly, I used to like you, and I've always liked you since primary school. My feelings didn't depend on any of your actions. They grew day by day because this feeling lived in my beautiful fantasies about you. It didn't need your response. It could exist as long as I had it, but I gave up not long ago. Why? He said, as if in a dream. Because my face still aches faintly whenever I see you. I had no expression on my face. All the color finally drained from Baron's face. Later, Baron and Clara broke up, and I don't know the reason. Clara applied to transfer classes not long after. Baron seemed to have changed into a different person. He stopped associating with his former friends and only focused on following me. He bought my favorite breakfast for me every morning, helped me grab the most popular dishes at noon, and carefully followed me after school, saying that he wanted to protect me on my way home. It was as if we had gone back to the time when we were in primary school. No, he treated me even better than at that time. I asked him what he was trying to do, but he just shook his head and looked at me with those sad eyes in silence. Finally, he said that he just wanted to make up for me and take good care of me. To be honest, I couldn't drive him away and no one could persuade him. It was really annoying. Just when we were going home, my parents' company had a plan to send them on an assignment, and it happened to be my mother's hometown, Itang. In fact, Baron had never been patient with me, but this was really the first time he slapped me. I didn't tell anyone about this decision in advance. I just sent messages to a few familiar classmates on a weekend to say goodbye to them. Baron was the last one to know this news. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.